All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Boy, do I have a treat for all of you. I played in my first FIDE rated tournament. Everything else has been USCF rated, but not FIDE. In the Hartford Open 2025, it was the 14th annual event. There was the major section, which is open. There was the U2100, which is still for some pretty big guns. The U1800, which is a massive section, which is what I played. A U15, a U12, and a U1000. So there were a lot of sections. Each section, I think my section had the most people, believe it or not, with like 55, but I think the sections averaged about 40. So there were, like 200 chess players at the Bradley Airport. Yeah, that's literally where it was held. Not ideal. Nonetheless, the reason I picked this tournament to go to is months ago, one of my buds, longtime friend, he was an old poker friend, he was a housemate of mine over my summers in Vegas for many, many years, named Ryan. Shout out to Ryan. Suggested, because he was a very strong chess player in high school. In fact, I think he basically was just shy of master, like 2170 or something. And he and the Oregon team actually won it his year, because his two buddies, one of which is a friend of mine as well, named Morgan, is a master level player, as is, I think, his third friend, who I don't really know. I think his name's Oleg, who's also a really strong player. In fact, Ryan told me that Oleg is like 3,000 plus on Bullet on chess.com. So I don't know if he's an IM or whatever he is, but he maybe an FM, whatever. He's a very strong player. Anyway, I digress. The point is, Ryan has gotten back into chess a few years ago after having not really played for 15 years, and then the last 5 he's really been playing. And he has a stated goal. He wants to finally hit that master level. He was so close back in the day, and then he stopped, and he's kind of grinding his way. Now, Ryan lives in New York, so he plays at the Marshall Club, and I, of course, live in Boston, so I play at Boylston. So he kind of chose this tournament for us a halfway point. It's about 2 hours from Boston, 3 hours from New York, and we said, hot diggity dog, this sounds like a fun weekend. Nonetheless, I also want to say, a bit as far as macro about the tournament. I'll probably get into all the little minutiae during the game. I want to focus on one game at a time, but I want to say it for this game. My sleep is not good. Now, I work at night. I run games at night. When I was a poker player, I improved as the night went on. But for chess, when there are specific times for when the rounds start, i.e. 10 in the morning, you can't just choose to sleep whenever you want. And because I drove in on Friday after having not really slept much, I basically played my Friday game on, no sleep, my Saturday game on with even less sleep, and then finally my Sunday games, I was a little more well-rested. So, then I don't want to use that as an excuse, but I do want people to have kind of bear that in mind. So with my first game, I had driven a bunch. I met up with Ryan. We kind of reconvened. We got ourselves checked in, and then it was game time. Also, as a note, this is the first tournament where at Boylston I'm so used to the clocks, the boards, everything being provided. And this one you have to bring your own. So Ryan brought one for me, which was super cool. In fact, he gifted me both a chess set and a clock, and kind of unraveled it, and it was time to kind of get going. It also does make you appreciate Boylston a bit more. I appreciated it to begin with, but the chess club is very nice. At this tournament, everyone's kind of using these, let's just say, not great boards. Well, they roll up. The one I kept using, I kept having to smooth out and flatten out. Anyway, my opponent in round 1 is named Matthew Kennedy Moore. Matt, we'll just call him. And Matt was dressed in Red Sox apparel. He either is in his 20s or 30s. I couldn't quite tell. And I'm not kidding. About 30 minutes into the game, 40 minutes into the game, I just stopped and kind of stared at him because a voice in my mind was like, Rob, you know this guy. And I still don't know if I knew him before or not, because I asked him, I was like, wait, did you play at Boylston? He's like, no, I played there once recently, but I didn't see him then because I think when he played was right before I joined Boylston. Anyway, I swear I've met this guy before somewhere else. I forget where, but it doesn't matter. And I kept trying to, I basically was distracting myself from the chess, trying to place, my memory's very strong, so I was kind of annoyed that I couldn't remember where I had met this guy before, because I'm pretty sure I had met him before. Nonetheless, Matt is in the 1600s. I was playing in the under 1800 section. Because my rating has taken a hit, I think I was one of the lower rated players in the section. One of the lowest rated players in the section, actually, around 1440. All my opponents this tournament were higher rated than me. Matt by about 200 points. A few other players by about the same. I didn't play anyone who was 1700 plus. There were very few people sandbagging. Most of the people who are 1700, they play in the under 2100. There's a whole lot of reasons, and I kind of like the strategy and everything, but whatever. The point is, I had a choice between the U1500s, where I'd be one of the highest rated, or the U1800s. I opted to play up. I think that's probably the smart approach, but I'm definitely open to have my mind changed. Nonetheless, with that in mind, there aren't really any foibles about Matt that really are important to note. He wasn't making any sounds during the game. There are plenty of players who did. I will get into those stories in the other rounds. He wasn't there wasn't any mannerism that was off. The only thing was really I was like, I know this guy. I did analyze with him after the game. In fact, my buddy Ryan, who, by the way, won round one, so actually was literally on board one for round two. That's how good my friend is. He did lose on board one, but it's okay. But Ryan also analyzed with us. So all these games, I have not gone through the rigmarole of chess.com. I wasn't about to record videos while I was in the hotel, but I have analyzed without the use of a computer, and then Ryan and I went through and we went through a few spots. So this is probably these videos are going to be more story, less analysis. Nonetheless, Matt plays e4, and I figured I've been I've gotten a lot of blacks, a lot in a row, and I've been getting this Maroczy defense literally 6 games in a row, and I think my record with it is incredible. So we bang, bang, bang the first few moves. He plays e4, d4. I obviously go with the d6, e5. It's kind of the pet line at this point. By the way, if you can see the game details, I just wanted to add that so I could add in his rating, so it would be over here. And I figured that's smarter to kind of add that in first. Nonetheless, this is the good old Maroczy defense, kind of it's a subline of the perk. I'm very well versed in this for the most part, and except he goes knight f3, which is a move, and I'm used to this one. I play bishop c4. Do I what? No, I don't. Sorry, my score sheets. Oh right, and I go e takes, which is the move, expecting knight takes. Right, that's what I'm used to, and this kind of transposes into a Philidor. I brushed up on some Philidor videos actually. Ryan hates the Philidor. I was going to get into a whole strategy talk about openings and the way that we play. Maybe I'll tack it onto this video, maybe not. But for now, we'll focus on this. So the Philidor exchange variation is where Maroczy defense can definitely transpose into, and I'm quite well versed into this as well. Basically, you just look to get these pieces out in castle, and it's fine. Obviously, it's not good for black, but it's fine. And that's what takes. And so far, when I've played this, in any serious game, they've taken every time. Matthew Kennedy Moore surprises me with not taking, ignoring, and instead playing the aggressive bishop c4. As far as and actually let me mention this as far as time usage. When I showed up, Matt was 15 or 20 minutes late. This is a very slow time control. These games I wrote in my spreadsheet. I'm used to the Boylston hour and a half and no extra time. This was you basically have 2 hours each and a 30-second. It's not a time increment. It's push or whatever, which is a slight difference. But the point is, these were FIDE classical games. These are the real deal. So he showed up 15 minutes late, but a few of my opponents showed up late. 3 of my opponents showed up late, by the way, this tournament, out of 5, which is a little bit ridiculous. But so I got a 15-minute time edge on 3 people, roughly. But I actually very quickly wore through that time with Matt. So he plays this. It's known as the Morphy Gambit, and I figured that as I was telling Ryan that I just wanted, I was tired. I drove in. I just wanted a kind of a slow, boring game. That's where I excel, and I'm not going to get that. When he plays bishop to c4, it's a gambit. I don't have a choice but to respond. It's an aggressive line, as Ryan put it, and it's true. When you're black, you don't get to make this decision. If he wants an aggressive game, an open game, a wide open game, a tactical game, I'm going to have to give it to him. So when he played this, I realized that I'm not going to just, I'm probably not going to be able to just, get my typical setup, and I really have to think. And the idea behind this move, very obviously, is he wants to bring his knight to g5. Right now it's supported. So if I do the obvious move, knight f6, which, by the way, is still the best move, which is kind of surprising, he's looking to immediately attack. Whoops. He's looking to immediately... What the hell? My God, arrows on chess.com. You guys see this bullshit? Whoops, you're not supposed to see the results. I started entering the OTB games thing, but don't look, don't peek. All right. Nonetheless, so I did a tank. This is one of the first spots I did tank, and I know that you generally want your bishop on e7, like the Philidor. And I thought that if I played the bishop here first, I'm removing that plan because now he can't plop his knight to g5 because I'm attacking it twice. So I'm like super defending it. And I figured I can then basically transpose, or excuse me, like invert the move ordering. If he does like whatever, move here, I would then play the knight. He wouldn't have time now to play it because then I could immediately castle and everything is, kosher. Everything is copacetic. So I was pretty happy with my thought pattern. However, my guy, Matt, was dead set on giving me pawns, and he plays c3. Now, when he plays c3, like, first off, it's funny. If you see, like, by the computer evaluation, he's, like, giving up the edge that he has. But that's with perfect play. Gambits, this typically will happen because computers obviously play way better than humans. But as a human, we know that this is what he wants. And I'm gonna go into story mode. I immediately recognize this idea, this motif, as what's known as the Scotch Gambit. And I don't have a lot of experience playing against it because I never go into it because I don't want to play against it because the Scotch Gambit is pretty good for white. I'm going to tell you first off what I did in this spot. So he plays c3. I ignored it and I just played knight f6, which, for the record, is the best computer move. So I'm quite pleased with myself. I'm playing the best moves. I'm responding well. In fact, black is already better. The idea behind this move, and I'm going to tell you why I don't play into it, is that if you take the pawn, oh my god, boom, you give up another pawn. Black is in a lot of trouble. Obviously, if you take the other pawn, you're pretty much just lost. And the reason why is they then develop the bishop. This is basically the Scotch setup. They have all of these diagonals, and honestly, +1 doesn't even do it just... Geez, arrows are really so hard to draw. +1 doesn't... Okay, I swear, it's really impossible to draw arrows. This doesn't even do it justice because the piece activity makes this like very easy to play for white and impossible to play for black. So I didn't want to do that. They also can do the half Scotch Gambit, I know, with rather than this, than just taking with the knight. And basically, they've given up a lot of pawns, but they have easy development. Nonetheless, the reason I don't go into this is I'm going to call out one of my very good friends. He's up there on the list of some of my best friends. In fact, he watches these videos as well. So I'm going to shout out to Travis when you get to this point. I'm not going to mention anything. Let me message me so that I know that you're watching. My friend Travis, super nice guy. He's high on my friendship board. I don't think he's going to feel bad when I say this. I'm a much better chess player than him. Now, how much better? I don't know. I think the last I checked, his blitz rating is like 1,100 or 1,200. So I'm anywhere conservatively about 600 points better than him. However, Travis has some interesting foibles. When we play, he literally only plays the Scotch as white. And number one, if you don't play into it, he'll say, I'm not going to play you anymore. And number two, he also, if he like loses like a piece or a pawn, he hates playing positions that are just worse. He doesn't battle. He'll just resign and say, all right, let's rematch. The point of that is, it means whenever I play Travis, I get this type of position a lot. And in the Scotch, not only is he really good at it, but the power of it, and again, I'm like 600 points better than him, he plays me pretty evenly. So my point is, I knew as soon as he played this move, c3, that I don't want any part of it. So that's why I kind of backdoored into the best line. I'm tired, but I'm like, fuck this guy. Not in like a mean way. This guy ended up being a super nice guy. I just mean like, he wants his ideas, I'm not going to give it to him. So that's the long-winded approach for why I ended up playing like the right moves here. Happy to give him back the pawn and then just develop and try to get initiative back and play my type of chess. However, he really doesn't want me to do that, and he plays queen b3 anyway. Now, it's funny. Remember when I showed that Scotch game, all of 5 minutes ago, over here, how queen b3 is a great move? I know this idea, by the way. This is like, I know that you would keep ignoring the pawns. So it's so clear that this is what he wanted to go into, even though he still plays anyway in this position where it's just not as good. And the reason why is I haven't taken the pawn. And so when he plays queen b3, I realize that I continue my plan and castle because I'm taking away, he doesn't have like this check. My bishop is still tied down to this pawn, so he doesn't have he can't just easily capture back material. And I saw that when I castle, which by the way, I castle, that if he plays this wild move, g5, I have d5. So I will show, because that's the idea, where he's basically putting the max amount of pressure on f7. So I will show you, I castle. I'm going to show you what he actually played. He then lashed out, and he plays e5 here, which is still not a bad move, but black is already... Again, I crushed the opening on this one, guys. I crushed it. But if he, again, the idea of... I figured that this is what I had to respond to, and again, I took like 15 more minutes in the opening. I really was utilizing my clock, because I was planning on playing d5, which is an incredibly good response. So I'm very proud of myself. Yeah, and I just knew that this didn't work because of this idea. So I saw this, I executed, and the reason why I saw this, I feel pretty good, is that if they take, we are easy peasy, lemon squeezy fine with this simple move. Yeah, they ask yourself, what does white really have? Nothing, because basically we hit the very common motif in the Maroczy defense, the Philidor, where basically you can take this pawn either on d5 or sometimes it's on e4. In another game, this will come up. So those are longtime listeners or viewers, you'll see this exact same motif with basically the queen bishop battery, where you basically trade the knight for a pawn. They're busy taking, and then it lets you recapture the material. And they can never just capture again because walla walla bing bang, the queen scoops it up. So anyway, so I knew this was good. So I saw this. I did have to calculate this. So I knew that e5 was going to be my follow-up if he played knight g5. So I saw this. However, he surprises me with e5 instead of launching it forward. And now I need to think. Now I was like, oh damn, this guy, 7 moves in, everyone has been kind of like niddle and brittle. Like, let's figure out what to do. It's funny, the way the computer wants to handle it is actually takes. I didn't do that. That was the best answer. The reason why is I thought that if I'm then letting him in, I still have the same problem on f7. In fact, I'm not really sure why that is not good for him. But apparently, in this crazy computer line, you can just stick your bishop on d6. And I guess he can't take because, I don't know, there's like a check or something. I don't know. It gets deeper for like why that doesn't work. But I didn't see that, of course, because that's a little too complicated for me. But nonetheless, so that's why I thought that taking was wrong. Now, taking is right for a real computer reason, but I saw a much more elegant, simpler answer, which was moving my knight and either to g4 or e4. And I thought e4 was best because I saw if I move there, I then have this move to go from knight e4 to knight c5, attacking the queen, forcing him back and buying me time and basically halting his initiative in the tracks. So that's what I played. My first reaction, by the way, was to play knight g4, which is slightly stronger, like 0.3 pawns, with the idea, again, that if he pushes, we then slam it down there, because then it's, boom, protecting and attacking. Those are my kind of moves. Protecting and attack. Guard, guard, guard. But nonetheless, I go knight e4. At the board, this is the first time in an opening that I've literally used more than 20 minutes, like 25 minutes or so, because he's definitely gotten me out of book. He's kind of rocked me. But I think I've been rewarded for it. I think my position, I'm already breathing easy. I think he's kind of messed up. And he kind of knew it too. He was a little bit, not embarrassed, but like looking around like, oh no, my attack is not there. I'm getting what I want, but it's not good for me anymore. Nonetheless, he ends up playing, let me see, when I play knight to e4, which I'm pretty proud of that move, even if it's not the best move by the computer standards, I was pretty proud of it. He looked at this position. He actually plays one of the better moves. The best move is to, and I did tell him this after in our analysis, is that I thought that he needed to just surge forward and kind of keep bringing pieces towards me. He takes a move off and he castles. And unfortunately, as soon as he castles, as you can tell, it's already like -1 in my direction. This bought me the turn where I'm weighing between knight c5, which is exactly where I want it, or takes, with the idea of takes and then knight c5. And I choose the slightly worse option. In my mind, I thought that if I take, it prevents him from taking with the queen, so he has to take with the knight, because if I move it here immediately, I thought that he would either take and then, then I would just win the queen. I thought he would then move the queen, I would then take the pawn, and he would retake with the queen. I thought that was better for him because it wasn't allowing him to develop the bishop. Hopefully that makes sense, the analysis. Basically, I took first because I thought in the other line where I don't take first, he would be able to take with the knight. But maybe my logic is terrible, because if I take immediately, he can take with the knight anyway. But then I'm attacking the queen, I'm preventing it from moving. I don't know. Whatever. I take with a pawn. And it's so funny, because I took with a pawn here. I took D takes on c3 with the thinking immediately like, and it's the best computer move. So this is going to be a common idea in a lot of my games too. I thought he was going to take back, and this is either a good or bad thing. Is there were so many times I was playing, and I assumed that they would make one move and then they wouldn't make it. Again, knight takes is the best move according to the computer, but he doesn't do that. And so when these people are playing like random shit against me, I'm worrying that like I'm missing things, and sometimes I'm missing things, sometimes they're missing things. It's just something I have to accept. But it makes it kind of scary when you're trying to nail like your candidate moves to your opponent, and you're just like not seeing the same thing that they're seeing. We'll touch on that in other games where it came more evident. Nonetheless, when I push, his best move is to just take with the knight, just develop. Instead, he plays rook e1. And this was like another move that I was like, this just can't possibly be right. Nonetheless, it's funny, the computer wants me to play d5 immediately. And I do see why. Like when I went over with like Ryan afterward, I get it. But I played what I think is the human move, which is my plan all along, just to hit him with a knight c5. And I still think it's decent, but I do understand how I like missed. And again, Ryan was laughing at how I rage at the computer, their annotation. But in fairness, you would too if you're playing good moves and they're still called like shitty moves by the computer. I think this is still a good move because it accomplishes what I need to accomplish. But, you know, lest I golf protest too much. All right. When I'm attacking the queen, it's pretty obvious what he should do. Well, no, apparently he should let me take his queen, and he would take. Okay, well, neither of us saw that. He plays the other move that's slightly worse, which is queen takes on c3, which the computer gives it an accuracy. What the fuck? Like, this is what I mean. Like 0.1 not even difference, and the computer gave him an accuracy for that. That is highway robbery. At least he's the one getting robbed here, because like that's such a joke. You guys see this. You guys see what I'm seeing, right? I mean, okay, maybe chess.com engine is just, you know, ridiculous. All right, don't want to go. I mean, here, like if the other move that they want again is E takes on D, and now the computer's giving it the best. Yeah, because apparently it's much better for. No, I don't know. Okay. I wanted this to be more informative and entertaining and kind of quicker as far as narration rather than me deep diving, because I already did analyze them with at least Ryan or whatever. But yeah, hopefully you guys see what I'm seeing. I'm going to have to hasten through some of these moves a little bit better. Anyway, when he plays queen takes, I realize that I'm going to now own the center. I have the follow-up with d5. My queen is protected. His bishop's under attack. If he moves that, I can always trade if I want, or I can basically go d5, c6. I'll have a strong pawn chain. This will be kind of an isolated pawn for the most part, because he doesn't have an easy way of pushing f4, because his knight's currently blocking it. I'm going to swing my rook underneath to e8, and I just thought I was clearly better. So I slammed the d5. Positionally speaking, I've kind of stopped his gambit. And, most importantly, not only positionally am I in pretty good shape, but let's count the pawns, shall we? 3, 6, 7... 1, 2, 3. Okay, even. 4, kind of dangling over here. Fair enough. But, oh, what's that? I'm also up a clear pawn. Whenever you neutralize where there's no attack on you, they don't have a lead really in development, and you're up the material edge, you know you're better. So, again, 10 moves in, I was, like, fist pumping. I was exhausted. I'm like, all right, this dude's, like, 200 points higher than me, but, like, I'm fucking owning him. Like, this is great, you know. This is just what the doctor ordered. Like, maybe I'll just be up 1-0 pretty easily in the first FIDE game that I play. Wouldn't be too bad, right? All right, well, he's not going to make it super easy for me, but he plays bishop d3. For the record, I thought in that position, again, this is what I mean by candidate moves, I thought that he had to play back to f1, which is the second best move, or e2. Like, I thought that it had to go to either these two squares, but he shocks me. After the game, I forget what he told me why he was okay with me trading them. Apparently d4, just continuing to push forward, works. I didn't see that. I know it now. Here, I'll tell you what. I just traded, which I think is still a good decision. I basically got rid of the knight. It's still considered an excellent move. Apparently, d4 is best, though, because he can't take. And the reason he can't take, I don't know if you guys see. Why can he not take? Why can he not take? Well, this one's this is a very easy, such an easy tactic to see that I wouldn't have missed this. And that's because we can just take his bishop, and lo and behold, our knight is home free. So if he then trades, we trade, he doesn't have a way of capturing it back. So I should have actually seen that I can jam. I should have seen that I can jam d4. And then, of course, if they take with the knight, what do I do there? Same thing. With the idea, of course, if he takes here, I have c5. And I do see all that. Like, that makes a lot of sense, because then he's, like, losing the queen or just another piece. Anyway, the good news is just trading the knight for the bishop there is still quite good for black. So I don't think I'm, like, losing much by not seeing that I could, you know, with d4. But I will say this is another common motif or idea that tactics really elude me. I am not a tactical player. That is very, very obvious. All right. Once we trade, knight takes on d3, queen takes on d3. I looked at this position, and I was hit with the unfortunate perspective of having too many good moves. Too many good moves! All right, queen takes. Sorry, I had to get that move registered. And you know what's funny? I was not considering knight a6, which is the best move. So I'm looking at my pieces, and I'm thinking, all right, maybe I play c6, but I said, wait, maybe I should play c5. c6 is a decent move, though. And then I said, well, maybe I should just get my light square bishop out. Like, fuck it. Like, let's just attack pieces. We're up clearly. Like, let's just try to trade. And then I was like, maybe we should do the knight first. No, I don't want to block the bishop. I don't want to prevent the pawn from being, you know... I basically did this, like, I'm not sure what's good. I don't really know. Because I'm considering all the pawn moves and all the minor piece moves, and even the rook move. Like, rook e8, hey, it's on the candidate move list. So I did consider those. It's funny, I didn't consider knight a6. That's the one move I did not consider. But it makes sense. It lets you basically push c5, c4 a little bit easier, I guess. No. All right, well, whatever. I didn't really consider that. Finally, I said, screw it. I played knight c6. My thinking, this was not one of the better moves. The computer still gives it a good, so I'm thankful for that. But I thought that maybe I just wanted to develop kind of normally and kind of go from there. I actually, yeah. But, all right. Whatevs. After knight c6, he plays bishop e3, which I actually thought was a little bit of a mistake, believe it or not. Normally the bishop belongs on e3, because normally it's very good here. But I thought this was kind of a mistake because it cut off his own acts like defender of his pre-pushed pawn. He's not close to joining them. And I actually thought there was a good chance I would rally up his e-pawn. Once he loses his e-pawn, if I have like the only pawns in the middle of the board, I just thought I was much better. Yeah, so my goal becomes, let's go after it. Let's remove defenders. And bishop g4 does that. My thinking is, of course, now he's in trouble because he's blocked his defense of his knight by his queen by putting his bishop there. If I was to take, I will mess up his pawns, and I drop the defender on his pawn. So that's what I thought. I thought it was a developing move. I thought it accomplished a whole lot of things. Now, what's funny is a typical case. It is the second best move according to the computer, but apparently I missed the win. And this is what I'm going for the whole time. Trust me, I have these tactical ideas. Is they want me to attack the queen and ideally free up the space because I'm looking for this, you know, fantastic rook fork. But he would obviously, he can't go here because I take him. Can't go here because I take him. Can't go here because I take him. So it would mean he would have to move back here or here if I was to play bishop, knight b4 immediately. Yeah, one of those squares. Boom, boom, or boom. Or here, apparently. Okay, and all of those are pretty equal, but none of them are good. Yeah, and I don't know what my follow-up was supposed to be. Slow burn. Develop over here. All right. Well, fair enough. But I went bishop g4 instead, with the idea of playing knight b4. In fact, I play it next move. He plays the best move in response. He denies me the ability to mess up his pawns. He gets his knight out. He plays knight b to d2. It makes a lot of sense. Now if I just trade, he just trades, and it's fine for him. So it's not so easy for me to remove this defender or fuck up his pawns. And I say, oh, okay, well, now this is slightly worse because his rook is no longer pinned in. Now, though, I play knight b4, which I think is still a very strong move. It is, okay, it's the best move. With the same idea. Attacking, looking for the fork, you know. Sometimes moves don't have to be more complicated than that, honestly. It does a lot here. I play knight b4, and he goes queen to c3, which is the best move. It's not really attacking my knight because my bishop is doing a great job. I'm still looking to eye this fork. What the fuck? They want knight a6? What? Alright, well that's not a very even move to play, knight a6. The normal move would be to play c5, which makes sense, thinking that although he's got two attackers, we can pin the bishop if he slides it underneath there, which I do like a lot. I like to see it, love to see it. Instead, I choose another good move, which is the very, and I thought it was a genius because I did see this when I pinned his rook to bring my bishop out. I did see this. I do the backwards move, bishop f5. And I thought it was devious. Oh, the computer gives me an excellent out. Like, the computer's so random with their annotations. And my thinking was very simple. Now I'm getting in there by force. Furthermore, if he moves his rook to kind of defend the c file, now I have the d3 fork as well, not to mention possibly winning a pawn. And if he moves the bishop to, the rook to c1, I thought I had a move as well. What did I think I had? I thought I had something as well. Let me see. He actually, and again, this is another case he surprises me. He ends up playing knight to d4, which is like now the computer doesn't like the move, but I thought it was really good, actually, because he takes away the immediate fork. He's attacking my bishop, forcing me to basically drop a tempo. So I actually liked that a lot. But I thought that if he had this move, they like just rook c8, or they like this anyway, yeah. Right! Oh yeah, this is what I was thinking. And I wasn't worried about escaping, because I thought if he played the rook here, I always have knight d3 with the idea of attacking the rook. Thank you very much, thank you very much. And then, obviously, wedging it in there is decent. And then I would potentially have the backwards kind of path, the clear path to get out of there. Alright. Which is something that's going to come up. Anyway, he plays knight d4. I play bishop g6. I just drop it. I thought I really wanted to leave my bishop on this diagonal. I mean, it's doing, the computer gives me a great move. It's doing so much. It's making my knight, super, super big threat. Computer says I'm, like, winning. It's almost -3. And I swear in game I felt great. I was, like, seeing everything. I was exhausted, but I was, like, doing my thing. I'm like, this is, like, chess can be so fun. Chess can be so easy. Look at me go. He plays, I think, a pretty resourceful move, to be honest. Knight on, what does he play? b2 to d3? No, that's not possible. What the hell is with my nomenclature? Move 16, bishop f5. Oh, because we're not there yet. He plays knight to d4. Wait. What? He already played knight to d4. I played bishop g6, and he plays knight to d3. How is that possible? Oh, I wrote it wrong. Oh, knight to b2. Wait, knight. Oh, I just wrote. Oh, I see. I messed up my nomenclature. Knight d2 to b3. There we go. He moves over here, and I thought this was another clever move. It is. It's an excellent move, and he's finding these moves that I thought were pretty powerful, actually. I play. Oh, and here I go into the tank. And the reason I go into the tank is I am torn between so many moves. Everything looked winning, and at the board, I had used a good amount of time, but we have so much time in these games. I had like more than a full hour, okay? And I was like, shoot, like, am I already winning on move 17? I think I am. And I said, how do I finish the kill? How do I win? And I said, do I play c5 here, which makes some sense? Do I get my rook and then play c5? Do I play b6 with the idea of c5? And the reason why, of course, if you've ever landed c5, attacking this, yes, like move, then you have d4. Yeah. So basically, yeah, so that's like the idea. It's basically launching the pawns forward, the strong center, and it's forkathon. not just here, but also here, and like his position is just totally crumbling. Furthermore, and I don't know if you can hear that coughing in the background. I'm gonna hope that coughing feels a little bit better soon, but it's okay. So in any event, I think it's because someone's cranking up that heater really hot, so maybe that's why. So all right, in any event, let's check how long it's been. All right, it's been 35 minutes. Each game is probably going to be an hour, so I don't mind that we're digressing a little bit. Anyway, all those moves seem pretty good to me. I didn't consider d3 immediately, knight d3 that is, because I thought, and this is what I mean, I thought I always had the escape, where I'm then attacking this rook, he then moves it, and then boom, I win it immediately. What my friend Ryan pointed out is if you see a good move like that, and everything else is kind of a slower build-up, it's not wrong to pull the trigger. And I think he's right. The e-pawn is one of the few things that my opponent has going for him in this position, and if I can just relocate my knight and just take it, and then I can still build up this pawn chain, have the center, then it's like a really easy game. So I probably should have played that, because I saw that. It was always not in my back of my mind. It was in the front of my mind. So yeah, I'm going to say I probably should have. It's great that knight a6 is still considered so strong. I don't understand that move at all. Like, do you see this? The knight's just left there. It's just chilling. I don't get it. Now I'm coughing. All right. Anyway, and you can see all these calculations, or all these like very good moves. I didn't consider moving the queen behind the pawn here, but that looks like an idea at least. But it does look like the main winning moves is a move I considered. This one, another move I considered, and that's the best move, the rook there. And unfortunately, the move I played is not there, and that's because I fucking blunder. I did not see his very obvious, very easy, very good move. I don't know why I didn't see it, but I did it. I play b6, and if you can see, I don't quite throw away all my advantage, but my idea is pretty obvious. Ho ho ho, if he moves this, boom, I hit him with the knight c2, so clearly he can't move his knight. And if he plays the queen here, then boom, I just win it, which means I'm going to be able to play c5 with the idea of either c5, c4, or c5 with the idea of d4, again forking him, and again the game's over. And I was looking for the most accurate move, and I thought b6 with the idea of c5 worked, and I'm a freaking genius, because like this is glued in, it's blockading, I'm going to wedge it out. And then I realize the error in my ways. That yes, he can give me this fork, but he's going to give me this fork because he's attacking the true beauty, the true prize. I don't have time to fork him because he wins my freaking queen. And as soon as this happens, I did the fuck. I'm no longer winning this game out of the opening from the easy middle game. I have my work cut out for myself. And I spend another 10 minutes in this position trying to find every way to not trade. But unfortunately, if I move my queen, he's attacking my knight twice. So the only move, and it is the only move in this position, of course, is to just trade. And what's funny is this position is still very good for me. And I knew that it was good for me because I basically what I did the calculation at the table, I was like, okay, I'm still up a pawn. I own the bishop pair. And I'm a little bit safer than his king, I guess. And my pawns are like, I kind of like my pawn formation a little bit more. So I realized I threw away what could have / should have been an easy game, but I still like my position. However, this is where things start to go wrong for me. He takes with his queen, and I realize all of a sudden that this pawn, the e5 pawn, because I didn't take it when I had the chance with a if you remember my knight move, that it's doing so much. It's preventing me from really moving my bishop, which is kind of preventing me from moving my queen, which is kind of preventing me from moving my rook. And I realized, to my horror, that he has a space advantage. And even though I have a bishop pawn, and for the moment a pawn, he also has a very easy way of ganging up on this pawn, and it's not so easy for me to send another defender to defend it, because his queen is literally clamping down, preventing me from pushing my c7 pawn. So I went from, I'm easily winning, let's find the win, let's crush this guy, to, wow, am I even better? Now, I am better because I should have played f6. Now, in-game, I didn't want to play f6 and give him, potentially. I was really worried about this pawn having these kind of checks. The truth is that there's nothing wrong with that. Like even if he gets a rook behind with his queen, he just wins one pawn back and it's fine. I would trade off his strong pawn, but that's why I eliminated f6. I thought that this light square diagonal would be too scary, but it shouldn't be because he doesn't have a light square bishop. So I didn't find the best move, and I probably should have. I can blame that on being tired. I can blame it on having been winning and then thinking I'm losing. But I play what I think is like the defensive move. I think quickly, okay, this is the strength of my position, that I have this passed pawn. This pawn matters more than this pawn. So I could reroute my bishop with the idea of gluing it on e6 with the hope of being able to develop. Even if I give back the c pawn, I would play to the strength of the double bishops with the passed pawn. And I thought to myself, I'm probably still better here. So I played bishop f5, and that was my idea, and I thought that was okay. But if you look at the computer, all the advantage I built up from pretty good play has mostly been lost. It's still 0.3 in my favor, but that is nothing. We're back to parity. You know, one bad move in chess does that, and it's a very unforgiving game. It's very fun, but you have to remember with chess is like you have to be vigilant. In a classical game, people are trying to play the best moves, and especially the better you get, like the more often they are playing like the best moves. So if you make a move that's like bad, they often are going to capitalize. You can't just bank on them missing it. So when you start playing kind of like pretty bad moves, and this was definitely not the best move in the position, you're going to get punished. You know, it's the way it is. Sometimes that can be frustrating, but sometimes it's not. Anyway, when I play bishop to f5, my man starts getting his rooks in the game. I didn't think that these were the best moves, funny enough. Speaking of making the best move, but it's close to it. It's on the candidate list. He plays rook e to d1. And his idea, of course, is that he's immediately gunning down on this pawn. It's so crazy. The computer actually wants to give up the pawn immediately. But I mean, I play with the second best move that's basically the same. This was my whole idea of f5. I go bishop e6, thinking, okay, if I can start somehow getting, some push on the board, maybe I still have something. But I also did realize at this point I royally screwed up. My opponent, after I push bishop to e6, plays rook a c1, and I always have like a lot of things I want to say during videos, but something that Ryan and I were talking about, there is something to be said for playing the easier position. Even if your position is not better, if you have an easier path, there are fewer ways things can go wrong as a human. So my opponent has a very easy plan here. Put his rooks in the middle of the board, gang up on the weakness, attack it, and keep me pinned in. I have a much harder plan of having to free my pieces from this jail, try to maintain the pawn, defend it, and probably give my queen my king some breathing room, etc., etc. I think black, even if black is a bit better here, and black is a bit better because I have the pawn, I think black is a lot harder to play. His plan is kind of easy. He's going to slam this knight on d4. It's a great knight. It's doing so much. Like, where is my activity? I don't have any. Again, I'm actually surprised the computer still gives this black in its favor. I thought that we were basically at parity. But maybe you still do have the material advantage. It is the bishop pair, but, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. So when this is played, I lash out. Now, my move is actually it's the second best move, so actually the computer does like my plan. But I looked at this position, and I was flummoxed. I was like, God damn, what the hell am I supposed to do? What active plan do I have? Now, I knew the passive plan was to play rook c8 and just try to hold on to everything for dear life. But I didn't think that was like a winning plan. That is the best move, by the way. And I did see that. That was a move that I strongly considered. But I just was worried that he would like still wiggle in. He would maybe, get this pawn. But I guess if I wiggle in and then he gets the pawn, I can play the rook here. If he takes, I can trade. Well, no, I can't because then he brings his rook down. Then this is Ompri. I wanted to be able to take his a-pawn. I don't know. I wasn't sure how I felt about this going down because see, the computer plays smartly. They would then just play that first before taking, and you're in a lot of trouble. I thought that I could go bishop to g5, which is, for the record, the second best move. So this is not a stupid move. It looks stupid because it's so easy for the opponent to meet you with f4. But I'm banking on two things. Number one, I didn't think f4 was that good. And number two, Sometimes they don't play it because they don't want to like weaken the pawn in front of their king. I mean, a lot of people avoid playing, f3, f4 kind of thing. Stupid reason maybe, but he jams f4 in my face, and my first reaction is, I guess I'm supposed to move this back and reroute that way and just give up a pawn. And I'd made peace with the fact that I'd be giving up a pawn at this point. But then I had a second idea, which is what I played. Maybe I should have taken longer on the second idea, because I put my my bishop in a, well, it's the second best move again, but when you play a lot of second best moves, at a certain level, you're just not going to be winning, many games. But it doesn't mean I didn't win this one. I played bishop h6. My idea with bishop h6 was kind of simple. This pawn is now currently pinned. I can bring my queen to the game. I can ignore his attack, and I can gang up on his pawn. I also saw that he doesn't have this. He doesn't have g3 necessarily, because if I relocate my queen somewhere over here, I can use the light squares, because he has no light square bishop, as a possible mate threat. And I have a funny tactic where I can take the pawn if my queen is there, because then I'd have the check and I'd be able to win it back with interest again. So I suddenly realized that maybe this isn't so bad for me. And maybe it's not. The computer says white is back to being better here, but at least I have activity again. Anyway, my opponent decides, and after the game he was like, yeah, it's time to cash in. I just wanted like even material. I don't think this is a bad decision at all. The hope is that I trade, but I play the best move, which is good. And I think it's the only move in the position. Oh, the computer's back and forth. Not sure if they should trade or not. I go queen h4. And my idea is pretty simple. Number one, I'm attacking. If he does some random move, I can actually attack because he doesn't have this tactic of g3, because then you would take with the bishop with check, which frees the pin, and then you can move the queen. So I did see all that at least, which I'm glad. I don't totally suck. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he slams g3, which is not a surprise. And again, I just wasn't that bothered by it, because now I think, all right, he can kind of dick around in the middle of the board, or his queen's kind of out of play here. His rooks are connected, but maybe not a problem. At a certain point, I'm going to eject him, because my bishop is actually playing a big role on c8. Yeah, and I have this threat where if I can somehow maneuver my bishop as well this way, then I may be able to mate him on g2. So it's funny. In this position, the computer says it's like even. But I went back to thinking that I'm better here and that I have the real power. And maybe I do, again, from a practical perspective. You know what I mean? Practical perspective. It's funny, the computer wants queen g4. I thought I shouldn't lock my bishop in because I might want it on h3. So I played queen h5, which again is the second best move. This game, it looks like I played tons of second best moves, which means some of the moves are pretty good, but does mean that none of them are best. Yeah. And my opponent plays knight to d4, which makes sense. It is the best move, and it's the move that we were all afraid of. We, meaning me, because it does so much. Now, the reason it's so powerful is it's taking away the entryway squares for my queen. It's perhaps letting him come in even further. And worst case, he's threatened to trade on e6, where especially if he drops the queen or a rook in here, he actually might win a pawn. And maybe more, like if he gets the queen over there where I check, and I'm forced to kind of go back to h8 or something. So I like that move a lot. It's now become from a knight that was kind of out of the game to one that's very much in the game. This is a bad bishop now for him because, again, these pawns, it's cut off in scope, but it can maybe become good. And, who am I to talk about bad bishops? Get a load of my bishop here. It's terrible. And this bishop, even though it's the bishop pair, isn't really doing much either. It's just being a pawn right now. It's just chilling as a pawn. All right. I decide it's time to eject my pal here, and I play rook f to c8, which I think is pretty reasonable. And at this position, when I've realized that I've slipped the advantage, time-wise, I'm lower on time than he is. But both of us have, I forget exactly. Again, this was my first, I just got home, and this was the first game I'm recording. So this was literally at this point 2 or 3 days ago. I forget the exact time situation, but I know neither of us was in time trouble. In these tournaments, at move 40, you hit 30 minutes extra, but we weren't close to move 40. You know what it was? I was a little bit ahead of time on my opponent, but not by much. So I play rook c8, and I offer to draw. And my thinking, first off, it turns out I'm a little bit worse here, so my draw offer was good. My thinking was this. Number one, I kind of missed the win. Material is, back to being, whatever, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like, material is pretty even. I thought that he could try to keep the advantage of keeping the queen on the 7th rank, that I could just keep checking her, because, like, I'm defending all the pawns, and, if she ever escapes, like, runs out that way, then again, I'm owning the file, and maybe I'm better again. So I thought that there was a reasonable draw. Also, I was exhausted. I was, 4 hours of sleep, having driven a bunch and whatnot. I just wanted to get the game done with, to be completely honest. Normally I have a little more fighting spirit than that. He thinks about it for a little while. I've been in a real draw-offering mood lately. And he thinks about it, and then he says, no, I've got to play on a bit more. And again, his plus point, like, his position is a little bit better. He makes the right decision. He battled through a significantly weaker position. I flubbed it a little bit, and he's denying me the draw. I made a joke to my friend saying, how many times in a game can you ask somebody for a draw? And I guess the, etiquette, you shouldn't really ask every move. If you ask and they say no, you kind of have to leave it alone. But I end up checking him a bunch. Meaning checking his queen. And I should have been like, draw now, draw now, draw now. And the reason why, by the way, is I thought that my attack was a little bit slow, and once he locks out these entryway squares, I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to even get my queen in, and these two pieces are really out of play. Now, as is the case, that's why he didn't accept the draw, because, a good player realizes white is probably slightly better in this position. May as well play on. All right, so I played rook d8. He now goes queen e7. And again, I'm like checking his queen a lot until I think he makes a mistake, which is soon, because I go. Excuse me, he does not go queen e7. Again, I check his queen a bit. So I went rook f c8. He goes queen d6 first, and all these moves maintain like the position. I then go rook d8 with the idea again, perpetually checking. I'm fine with that. He plays queen e7. And now when he plays queen e7, it's funny, and I'm wrong, by the way. This is the best move. I thought I've actually made progress, because I play rook d7, which is... I wanted to make the joke of, it's the second best move again, but it's not really. All these moves are fine, but just, kind of the second best kind of response. Anyway, I play rook d7, thinking that I've made progress, because now my rooks are closer to being doubled, but as my friend in the analysis pointed out, I do not want doubled rooks on the d-pawn that's currently being blockaded by the knight. That is a bad placement for this rook. So it's actually not good for me. So the common truism of you have rooks, you connect them, you want to double them is probably true, just not in this case. So that makes sense. Nonetheless, he then retreats to a3, and I thought in this position that I'm slightly better. And I'm wrong. But I thought his queen is out of play. It's no longer entered into my position. I'm kind of close to doubling, even if it's a bad file to double on. So now I can worry about attacking him. Truly, his queen was already out of play down here. I didn't need to keep checking him. And unfortunately, my rook is now blocking my bishop from protecting the c8 square. So I've made backwards progress, also known as not progress at all. All right. And here I think about all my moves, and I do play, again, a pretty decent move. I thought the best move, in my analysis, okay, and this is going to really cost me, possibly. I should have played bishop h3, but I had the stupid idea of playing bishop g4 first, basically checking the rook. But it's so dumb, because he's the one that wants to double, and if I check him, it kind of buys him a move. So I play bishop g4 first. I think I definitely realized that I should have gone immediately to h3 so I can threaten the checkmate. But I didn't, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. So I basically check his rook. He plays rook d2. And now he has a clear plan of doubling up. Apparently, though, this is a mistake, by the way, because of rook e8. Okie dokie. All right, for some reason, rook e8 is the play, but I didn't see that. That's for sure. That's for sure. So I played... I think of second best move again. I think of what I think is the best line. I'm buying some luft for my king, and more importantly, I'm finally getting my bishop back into the game. Because I figure if I slam f8, I'm going to attack his queen, and I'm going to reawaken my bishop on this c5 to g1 diagonal. So I suddenly like my position again a lot. Again, that's the second. Oh, no, I say it's the best move. It's equal. And I should have offered him a draw again here. But again, maybe I should chill with the draw stuff. I probably should. Anyway, and I saw the tactics, by the way, and I didn't think they worked because they don't work. So I did at least calculate some things. Was not calculating a lot. Nonetheless, he plays rook on d2 to c2, so he doubles up. I realized that I can play bishop f5, f8, which is the best line. But obviously attacking his queen. I see his idea, he's not gonna trick me. He's not gonna mate me that easily. He plays rook c8, and yeah, I'm like, oh, you're not gonna get me. I play rook d8. Obviously, he has to take so that my bishop is pinned. Oh, good. The computer gives me a great move there. Great. So he takes. Yeah. So rook takes on d8. I'm still pinned, so I can't win his queen here. So I have to take the rook again, which makes sense. So we do a good old rook takes on d8. And then he plays a move that I did not think he would play. He plays queen takes a7. Now, why did I not think he would play this? Well, because I thought his queen was out of play. I didn't care about this pawn, and my idea is so simple. I play my bishop out here, blocking, here meaning c5, blocking his rook from accessing the c file. His knight becomes pinned, because then obviously this is, pinned is with check. And I have legitimate attacks. Now, this is why I wish my bishop was on h3, because if I land my bishop here, and my bishop is here, meaning on h3 and c5 respectively, I can then trade, with the idea of trading, with then infiltrating, threaten immediate mate, having a perpetual, at a minimum, or even better than that. So I saw that, and I realized that this placement was bad at this point, that I knew that I'd made some mistakes earlier, but I also was shocked that he took this pawn, because I didn't think the pawn mattered, and it gave me such a clear move, such a clear threat, such an idea, such a strong move. So, yeah. So, nonetheless, I play it, bishop c5, seemed great to me. They're great, although it's an inaccuracy. Computer, god damn it. It's funny, the computer wants rook c8 to just challenge the file, and then if he trades, you trade, and now you have access with your queen, which makes sense as well. And I think what the computer argues is it's just a perpetual when you get your queen in there, which, with the computer perspective, black is not better. From Robert's perspective, I thought I was better. All right. Queen takes on a7. Boom, that was on the board. I do play bishop c5. Whether the computer likes it or not, I liked it. But the problem I did see, I thought he had b4 as an idea, basically giving the pawn back, but reopening the file that he could then infiltrate, or take the b5 pawn himself, and then both my bishop and my rook would be under attack. I'd have to retreat to e7, and it would be kind of interesting. But nonetheless. Sometimes there's a lot of life in a position, sometimes there isn't. Instead, he shocks me. And this is the best move, according to the computer, but I don't understand it. I still don't fully get it. I get it later, you'll see why. But he plays e6. And I remember, I had plenty of time. He plays this on the board, and I, shake my head. I, look at him, and I'm like, is this a free pawn? And aren't I just winning now? And I look at him, and I'm like, really? And I look at this for 5 minutes trying to understand it, and I, for the life of me, don't. I only understand it later when I'm analyzing with Ryan, that the reason why e6 is so strong is you need this open diagonal. So in lines where I take, and then he takes, he has a potential mate. That's basically why it's strong, is this diagonal suddenly becomes White's winning idea. Anyway, I take, thinking with bishop takes that he obviously doesn't have the time to play knight takes, because then I take with check and he loses everything and the game's over. So I just thought it was a free pawn, and then I'm just easily winning. I'm not though. If he plays b4 here immediately, which is what I thought he should do, that, and then I would take, and then he takes. Again, as I told you in the lines, the reason why is now he suddenly owns the dark squares, and he has a genuine mate threat. Not to mention he'll win back to pawn. So I see why White's better, again, from the computer perspective and also the analysis. In the game, I didn't. Okay? Yeah, sometimes players are strong. That e6 move, again, that's a classy move. That's a deep idea. Or obviously just takes. That's That's good play, honestly. And I just took it when this happened, when I'm back to like winning a pawn, I'm like, I don't want to draw against this guy. I want to beat him. so yeah, comedy of errors. It's funny how your mentality kind of goes up and down in a typical game. Games can be maybe not roller coastery, but a little bit of the swings up and down. All right. Having said that, the reason why he did this is he should have probably just traded, but he then shocks the world. Again, b4 is the move, and I saw b4, and he has another idea, and he goes rook takes on c5. And when he plays this, I'm like, what the hell is going on in this game? Now, what's funny is the computer doesn't say this is totally winning. Again, his idea is clear. He wants me to take, and then that lets him take, so that I obviously don't have time, because I don't have a bishop to check his bishop. And then I would take, and then boom, he has the mate threat. And he did, to his credit, calculate this. Like, this is he calculated this. Like, again, you got to give your opponents credit. Just to be very clear, is I would take, he takes, I take, and boom, he lands his bishop on this strong diagonal. I don't have a pawn here, and holy moly, I'm actually in a ton of trouble, especially because he's going to be winning some of these pawns back. So it's a really good idea, right? Anyway, I don't have much I can do except, and I was torn, and the moves are completely equal. I didn't know if I was supposed to check him first or take the rook, but we're close to move 40. I panic a little bit, and I'm like, all right, let's take. So I took. I went b takes on c5, because, like, what else am I going to do? You know what I mean? Like, come on now. My opponent, at this point, follows through this plan. I say, okay, bring it on. He goes knight takes. It's a great move. I play f takes. And, yeah, he's got and now he has a pretty clear idea. The computer wants me to go queen e7 to kind of check the rook, potentially winning another pawn immediately, which makes a lot of sense, actually. Instead, he takes the c-pawn. Bishop takes on c5, which is a clear mistake. It's a miss. I think he took this, again, so he could move here and go over there. And he was saying he was trying to trap me, where if I check, and then I go here, and then he goes here, and he would run, and I take the pawn, then he hits me with the bishop to d4, because then he's threatening checkmate and attacking the queen, and I would lose the game. So very, very devious and tricky for my opponent. I see, for some reason, my calculation is check, which seems like the clear line, although they also like just d4, just pushing. d4 makes a lot of sense, because then you're taking away this long diagonal win. And you're pushing, to queen. In any event, 37, I see queen d1, which I play, with the idea I thought he would have to move up, and then I thought he'd have to block, and he's now passive, and then I can just, basically push the p. Easy game, right? And I thought the game was over here, by the way. I thought that the game I won, and it's all she wrote. Except for what happens next. I play queen c2, which is the best continuation. Again, thinking he probably has to block with his bishop, or at least that's what I thought. But he plays the best move, king h3, and like a total gorilla, like I don't know what was happening. I had a little more time than him. We were just about to hit move 40. We were both kind of low. For some reason, I thought he was going to block because I didn't remember that his bishop was guarded. I Botez gambit. I have to play queen f5, and I set up basically the idea of being able to run, because then I can slam my queen on f6, taking away the checkmate and preventing him from ever... Actually, does that even work? No, because then you can still push that. I don't know, maybe you can then move to like f8, or you move to f7 and just forcing the queens off. I think that's what it is basically these are on light squares, so the dark square bishop is no good, and then my rook has an easy time of cleaning up the board. Anyway, this is going to be a very sad end to the video, because I think I played very well up to this point. I literally grab my piece, and I take his bishop. Can blame it on, this was like the third hour of the game. Can blame it on that I'd driven a lot, that I barely slept. Blame it on whatever you want. The guys to my left or the board and right who are still playing, like, saw it, and one of the guys after I kind of befriended like everybody, but one of the guys left after the game when analyzing it came up. He's like, "Man, I felt so sorry for you." He's like, "I saw that go down," and I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. I like spasmed and just took his bishop. Anyway, I took his bishop. He looks at me almost sympathetic. He takes my queen, and I like shake my head. I say, "My brain has melted." I said, "I'm not going to make you prove that you can win." This, like, the embarrassment factor is too high for me. I can't do this, and I resigned on the spot. So just as we hit move 40 with the extra time. And that was my game against Matthew Kennedy Moore. I'm going to save this. Add to game collection. Let's save this. Where do we go? Create new collection. This is the Hartford. Open 2025. And we'll save it in here. Now he was saying in the analysis that he thought that he was holding if I play Queen F5 check, which is what I obviously should have done. But I didn't think so. I thought that I could just push the pawns. Now they're saying he has to go G4. He wouldn't have played it. He would have gone G2. He would have gone back here. And the reason why I'm winning, is D4, is I can just push the pawn. It's just so frustrating, man. This is so frustrating. Just in case you guys are wondering why this works, and I do see some tactics, not everything, but is if he ends up taking, you have the check, and now you can take. And now it's not a Botez gambit, because now we check, he goes back to king back to H3, and now we clean up the board. Okay, they wanted to go rook takes, which is wild. I would have taken with a queen, and this kind of forces everything off, and everything is protected. I have an extra rook, and I could easily win this against almost anybody. Maybe not a grandmaster. If you see me the way I sack my queens, maybe not a lot. Maybe not some people, but this is obviously very, very simple, very, very routine. Anyway, this didn't happen, and I lost the game. Very, very sad. I was going to talk about different positions I like, different setups, different mental state, but I think I've talked about a lot. This was kind of game one. Set the mood for the tournament. I was 0-1 off the bat. I was definitely winning, so I felt embarrassed that I literally pulled the Botez gambit. I think I was playing a good game. I had a really strong opening. Accuracy-wise, this was kind of a low accuracy game. It looks like neither player played great. Again, my opponent was kind of shaky in the opening. I did have 3 great moves. That's nice. That's all she wrote. I mean, there's good advice. Don't do that. I mean, it's crazy. He got nothing out of the opening. I refuted it right away. I was like winning. I then kind of butchered a little bit to get the even when I kind of fizzled and fuzzed with like the bishop pair. And then I saw my opening. He made the sacrifice, which didn't quite work without the idea. I had it lockstepped, and then I just blundered by literally trading my queen for a bishop. So that was game one. Hopefully I don't do that again. I can't make any promises. I'm going to stop the recording here for the first game. We'll see how many more I do tonight. That took a lot of the wind out of my sails, but it was also really enjoyable to discuss it. I don't think there's much else to discuss in this game. I'm trying to look to see if there were anything. Like, the computer is really liberal with these inaccuracies. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. Overall, I'm kind of curious what my accuracy was until I made this move, because I think I was playing a pretty strong game, but that was game one. There was only one way to go from there, which was up. Alright, I've saved the game. I'm going to say good night on this one, and hopefully you enjoy the other games from the Hartford Open.